Welcome back, everyone, to Baha'i On Air.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Jane. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really interesting video from the Bahá'í National Spiritual Assembly Convention just held, April 26th, 2025.
That's right. It's called A Common Endeavor, Building America's Future. And, well, it really offered a compelling look at things, didn't it?
It did. We wanted to unpack some of its core ideas with you. It talks a lot about the significant difficulties the U.S. is facing right now.
But also, importantly, the potential within those challenges. That's key.
Exactly. It paints this picture of America's journey, this shared goal of building a society based on justice, equality, and real compassion.
Not just as abstract ideas, but how to actually get there.
Right. So let's jump in. The video doesn't gloss over the increasing turbulence in American society. I think many of us feel that instability.
But what's interesting is the perspective it offers. It suggests this isn't just random chaos. It frames it as maybe a stage in a larger historical shift. Humanity moving from, say, adolescence towards collective maturity.
That's quite a way to look at it. Growing pains for the whole human race, almost.
Sort of, yeah. Learning to operate on a global scale with more maturity. It makes you think about what that looks like.
It does, and the video seems quite hopeful about it.
Definitely optimistic.
Yeah.
It suggests humanity won't just endure this, but actually prevail, thrive.
But there's a catch.
Well, the key is being willing to let go of outdated ways of thinking, outdated actions.
So it's an evolution in how we relate, how we organize ourselves, not just technology.
Precisely, embracing new ways of being and doing, as the video puts it, so that spiritual and material prosperity can flourish for everyone.
That's a powerful vision.
It is, and it stresses that it's a collective thing. Everyone contributes. No one group has all the answers. All perspectives matter.
Which brings us to another big theme, America's founding ideal. That phrase, all men are created equal.
Right, endowed with rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. The video suggests America's whole story is basically the struggle to make that real for everyone.
A continuous effort.
Yeah, and it acknowledges the ups and downs. Remarkable steps forward and terrible setbacks, it says. Advances and catastrophes.
It shows the contrast, the best, courage and innovation, but also the worst, oppression.
Exactly. Doesn't sugarcoat it. The journey to fulfill that founding dream. Still happening.
And then it gets into this idea of America's unique spiritual destiny. That's fascinating.
It is. The video mentions Bahá'u'lláh, the founder of the Bahá'í faith, specifically pointing to the U.S. having a special role.
In what sense?
In leading towards world peace.
Yeah.
Because of its material strength, yes, but also its potential for spiritual leadership.
Potential being the key word there.
Very much so. The Baha'i writings, as the video notes, praise American ideals and governance, but they're also very clear-eyed about the spiritual ills. Things like excessive materialism, moral laxity, and especially deep-seated racial prejudice.
So the potential for peace depends on aligning the spiritual and material sides.
That's exactly the point the video makes. They have to go hand in hand.
The video also mentioned the National Spiritual Assembly's 100th anniversary.
Right, and it connects that to the Baha'i community's own century of trying to build inclusive, loving communities. It's based on lived experience.
So they're speaking from, trying it out themselves, the challenges involved.
Exactly. They know it's hard work overcoming ingrained habits. But they also believe real progress happens when you apply these core principles consistently.
In practical ways.
In practical ways, yeah. And it connects this to the world stage. It argues Americans need to see themselves as part of the whole world.
Because global problems stem from not fully grasping the oneness of humanity.
That's the idea. We're all one human family. So America's successes and failures with liberty and justice, they ripple outwards. World peace is tied to progress here.
The video also touched on some early Baha'i history in North America, right? After Baha'u'lláh and Abdu'l-Bahá passed.
Yes, forming the administrative order. And some early learning curves.
Like the 1922 convention. Apparently there wasn't clear guidance initially on how to even run elections.
Right. It shows how things develop. And there was a significant early misunderstanding about women's participation on assemblies.
Which went against the core principle of equality.
It did. But the video highlights how that was corrected, thanks to figures like Karen True and direct guidance from Abdu'l-Bahá, a process of clarification.
That's encouraging. And then the 1925 convention.
Ah, yes. Quite remarkable for its diversity, racially, socially, especially given the intense segregation in the U.S. at that time.
That really stands out. Was that intentional?
Absolutely. The video states it was based on explicit instructions to build an integrated community right from the start.
And they point to women, and later a black man, being elected to the National Assembly early on as proof.
Concrete examples, yes. Putting the principle into practice.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. The video talks about two global processes happening at the same time, destructive and integrative.
That's right. One is about, institutions weakening, trust eroding, even basic truths being questioned, paralysis.
We see some of that. And the other?
The integrative one. That's about increased connection globally, new ways to cooperate emerging, more interdependence.
So things falling apart and coming together simultaneously.
Kind of, yeah. The video suggests both processes, strangely enough, are pushing humanity towards maturity.
How so?
The breakdowns reveal the flaws in the old ways. The integration builds new connections and understanding. The challenge, the video says, is to consciously choose the integrative path.
To align ourselves with building up, not tearing down. To create that society based on high ideals, universal peace.
Exactly.
And how do we do that? The video stresses guiding spiritual principles.
It does, like the fundamental idea that there's a moral order in the universe. Maybe not a popular idea today, but seen as vital.
And the core principle, again, is the oneness of humanity.
Absolutely central. It's presented as the key to tackling global challenges.
Because if we truly see ourselves as one,
then prejudice makes no sense. The video is really strong on this. Prejudices have no basis in reality. Every single person deserves dignity, the chance to develop their talents. Eliminating racism is fundamental.
There was also that story about the youth camp in the southern U.S.
Oh, yeah, that was powerful. 2022, a 12-day camp.
What happened there?
The young people themselves, working with their tutors, decided to tackle racial segregation within the camp organically.
Wow.
They drew inspiration from figures like Louis Gregory, the early black Baha'i, who championed racial unity.
So the youth aren't just future leaders.
They're protagonists of change today. That's the video's perspective. Youth conferences are another example of young people reflecting, consulting, planning how to build a better society.
And the video included voices of youth from these conferences.
It did. Talking about the sense of community, their focus on things like universal peace, really translating ideals into action.
That's inspiring. Now, the video also addresses religion itself. It acknowledges why some people reject it, fanaticism, conflict.
It faces that head on. But it presents the Baha'i view. True religion isn't about dogma or division. It's a force to bring people together for the common good.
Centered on that theme of oneness again.
One God, one human family, and the underlying unity of all religions. It sees humanity's religious story as one single narrative of encountering the divine.
And religion at its best promotes what?
Love. Service to others. Working for a just, peaceful society. These core, timeless principles are seen as essential for shaping individuals and institutions.
So, thinking about the path forward, the video emphasizes unity and diversity.
Very much so. Humanity's history is seen as this long process of coming together as one human race, but celebrating our differences. E pluribus unum, but on a global scale, really.
And it acknowledges this isn't easy.
Oh, definitely not. It requires ceaseless work, sacrifice, and struggle, guided by that world-embracing vision, moving beyond just believing to acting for justice.
Which means things like honest conversations.
Hearing marginalized voices, building real relationships based on friendship and trust, creating models of unity in local communities nationwide. Everyone has a part.
It sounds like transformation through collaboration and mutual support.
That's the hope. But it also directly confronts division and prejudice, especially racism, calling it a profound deviation from morality that harms everyone.
And the change needed is deep.
Moral and spiritual at its core, understanding the bigger story we're part of, being willing to learn, to build together,
There's that Baha'i teaching mentioned. Peace must first be established among individuals.
Until it leadeth, in the end, to peace among nations.
Yeah.
It starts with genuine love, spiritual connection at the grassroots.
Loving relationships, common purpose.
Exactly. Building communities that embody unity and peace havens of hope, centers for education and action. Using nonpartisan consultative ways to solve problems.
A different model for building unity.
Right. And again, highlighting the potential of youth, not just for the future, but their impact right now.
The video also cautions against extreme views often seen in media.
Yeah, urging us to recognize the essential goodness in people, to meet everyone in good faith, even when we disagree.
Because truth, love, unity, these have real power.
That's the core belief, transcending differences, focusing on trustworthiness, cooperation, rationality, tolerance.
It sounds like the work of change is really internal.
It's the work of the heart, fundamentally, sharing beliefs respectfully, being clear about what we've learned and what we still need to learn.
And the ultimate power, according to the video,
is love. Love originating from the divine, extended to all humanity, ignited through those one-on-one intimate conversations.
So to wrap up our deep dive here, the video really frames America's big challenges as deeply connected to these unique opportunities.
Absolutely. Opportunities to build something more just, more unified, rooted in those spiritual principles. Oneness of humanity, eliminating racism, these are central.
And the power of individuals, especially youth, taking action now.
It's not passive. And the video closes with that moving prayer for America from the Baha'i writings, doesn't it?
It does. Asking for divine help, for America to realize its spiritual potential, promote oneness and peace.
A powerful summation. So for all of you listening, perhaps the takeaway is to reflect on these ideas. How do they resonate with you in your life, your community?
How can these principles maybe inform our own actions, contribute to building that better future? That's definitely something to think about.
Indeed.
Well, if you found this deep dive helpful, please do subscribe to the channel. We'll have more explorations like this.
Thanks for joining us.